Hello, collective. It's Kai. Once again, this is all just based on my own experience, so what works for me may not work for you. Let's fucking get into it. So I'm timeline shifting, which is when you change your behaviors and therefore your thoughts and your spirit, aligning all three actions in order to completely mindfuck yourself, in other words, right? And so I've decided to release a lot of entities in my space because one, I'm introverted. I definitely need time alone. Two, very spiritual. So the energies that I feel, I've been denying. I've been fucking denying it and not trusting my intuition, and it fucked me. Fucked me straight up the fucking ass. And I suffered literally, physically, emotionally, mentally. Did I have to learn this lesson again? Yes, obviously, because I kept choosing the same thing and perpetuating my pain, panning out the same way. But seriously, it's so fucking important for me to speak my fucking truth, and this is where I do it. So I'm already self-assured enough to know that no matter what you guys say about me is just a moment, right? And I am grateful, I am appreciative of the support, but I'm also able to allow the differences to be, right? So not speaking up for another person and therefore only being able to speak up for myself. I was really fucking mad. I was like, this is really reactive, this is really controlling, manipulative, and evasive, avoidant, anxious. And yes, I played a part in it, so all of this was reflected back to me, and therefore I had to really dig deep and just be like, is this who I am now? Like, is this me? And it made me question myself. I was confused. I confused myself. Isn't that crazy how that fucking works? Because your environment does fucking affect you. I do have a tendency to also be those things, to be avoidant. But that's why perspective shifts are so fucking important. And so I changed my perspective on it. I was like, you know, I don't need to be emotionally driven all the time. Like, that in itself is a dangerous playground to play with, because when things are emotionally based for me, okay, when things are emotionally based for me, I do realize that my judgment can be very clouded. So when I'm angry, when I'm hungry, and obviously hungry is like more of a physiological, but it affects me like emotionally, mentally. And when I'm tired, when I'm not relaxed, when I'm rushing, right? So all of these things, all these components, cultivating that anxiety, feeling like I need to do something, I need there to be control, I need to know everything. In reality, there's only like half of what I know of the reality, because 50% of it is me. The other 50% is the external, right? And only if I'm open to inquiring, if I'm open to actually receiving the hard truth, which is the reality of what it is, and not making assumptions. I might be intuitive, but it doesn't mean that the truth in which someone speaks or the ways in which the universe presents what I'm aligned with is always going to be positive or even negative. It's just how it's meant to be, as it is. And I don't need to do anything about it. I just need to actually be open to this information that's coming in. And I was avoiding the fact that I was surrounded by a lot of indolence, complacency. And not because that's what defined them, but that was a lot of the energy that was present. And I was like, fuck, like okay, for example, I really prioritize my health. I've been overcoming neurosis for a while now. And, you know, even if I say that, it's just kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to face it, right? So things are going to change and it's not going to be forever. Nothing is permanent. But at the same time as well, it's like I fall off that routine. And I'm a Capricorn moon. I'm also a Capricorn Mars. I do need a form of structure, and that is things that I do with myself because I can control it. I can choose. And so that's why it's important to be personally sovereign, like to allow myself to be myself and do what I want and need. I need these things, or I start to revert back to my eating disorder, body dysmorphia, like all of these things, right? So I eat very based on my phases as a woman, as an entity that's feminine and also identifies with the feminine entity. I really value having a body that looks like this. And it's like I've worked so fucking hard to get to this point. And only I know that effort. I don't need other people to, like that's good and jolly and all, but that's the physical incarnate. It's just the physical dimension. It's so surface level. I definitely understand the effects of having a physicality not only that looks like this as a feminine, as someone who dresses up very, not androgynously, but erotically. And like, that's just how I am. I love, not how I am, how I wish to continue to be, because it's like, I love utilizing lingerie, implementing that into my like practices, because I also do OnlyFans, and as a sex worker, it's like I channel through that. I literally flow. I literally take off my clothes and then I can do OnlyFans. Like, think about the fucking finesse of that. But in reality, right? So easy to be misunderstood. It's so easy to be misunderstood. It's so easy. It's so simple to just be like, oh, she's a slut. She's a hoe. She is X, Y, and Z. And I fucking own that shit like a motherfucker. But it's like, okay, those are definitions that other people are placing upon me, putting me into a box, right? And I'm not saying that everyone does this. I'm not even saying that they do in general. I'm just saying that that's a possibility. Ego, But, because I'm fucking human, okay? I know this shit too, to an extent. I might not be a man. I might not have man brain, because sometimes that shit really fucking just is like, oh, okay. Yeah, no. Yeah. But simultaneously, right? Changing my behaviors. So sometimes, yeah, I don't dress like that. Sometimes I do. That's fine. Like, changing is so important to me. And not being one who sticks with the fucking norm, I've recognized, I've deeply acknowledged. Because I remember one time my mom was like, you were the rebel, you were the troubled child. And I was like, bro, I was like, me? But then I was like, you know what? Yeah. Because I don't like listening to other people. But now I've become a lot more open to it after learning through a karmic experience with this person that it is important to listen to what other people are saying and taking it, like literally taking it. And if I get triggered, I get triggered. I have something to address there. It's not to blame them. It's not to be like you need to change how you are. Like, fuck that, bruh. Like, oh god, like if I can't accept someone for who they are as they are, that just shows me that they are not meant for me. So therefore, having discernment, right? So I've been changing my behaviors. I've cut off communication with this person that I was experiencing kind of like trauma bond with. Like, I recognize that yes, I am a feminine, but I have a lot of masculine energy. So I'm very proactive and I put myself out there and I kind of initiate, right? And traditionally there's like the masculine and feminine, and there is like the feminine who drops the handkerchief and the masculine that picks it up if he too is interested, which I fucking love, by the way. I was literally talking to my brother about that and I was like, God fucking damn it. If it was that time, wouldn't it be just so simple? But now the technology exists, there's fucking like all this shit that has to do with tonality and texting and stuff, and I'm like, I'm the middle child of both generations, born in 99, but also at the end of the year of 99. So it's like, I definitely understand to an extent how tonality is so important. But it's like, if I don't fucking care enough to like, or if I'm not, it's hard to fucking describe, but sometimes I don't care. In other words, sometimes I really don't fucking care. I just want to talk, and if I sound fucking brusque, then I sound fucking brusque, okay? Like, take it or leave it. Like, literally, get away from me if you can't handle it. But it's like, sometimes people just sit with it, and then they internalize, and then they just, like, deliberately fucking feel pain based on what I'm saying. And it's like, okay, well, it's not my responsibility for you to make a choice to step away from me. That's your choice only. And if you do not have the discernment or also maturity to speak up and have a conversation about it, because yes, I am open to changing. I am open to changing so that I can be committed in connections. But once again, I'm a very spiritual being, and so I change all the time. And so my circle is very fucking limited. It's very limited. And I'm not saying that other people aren't capable. Everyone's fucking capable. That's what spirituality is. That's why I fucking love it, because it doesn't make me better than anybody, which is so good, because it's like, this is the energy that I wish to spread. Fucking like self-empowerment, being yourself and being so fucking for real. Like, if I'm upset, I'm not gonna deliberately go out of my way to be upset and project that onto a person, but I will experience and allow healthy outlets to happen. So like shouting, stomping my feet, and like, honestly, sometimes listening to fucking trap. And so there's different ways to fucking express this shit. Like, it doesn't have to be with the person directly. And I don't need to explain myself every single time that I'm making a different choice. Due to how quickly and how rapidly I do change, just to like try things out too and see if it works for me. So I like tried it out. I was just like, okay, I'm just not gonna fucking respond to this person. I'm gonna be very limited with the communication that I'm giving them. And it has become very evident in the practical, realistic realm that this is not a possibility, right? So not being so emotionally driven, because yes, I did have feelings for them, but I let it go because the universe is going to take care of it for me. Like, honestly, like, I don't need to force a connection, because I know now, before I didn't, before I was still perpetuating my pain by chasing, being anxiously attached, trauma bonding, right? Those are fucking real terms in psychology. And I too am human. I make fucking mistakes, right? Whew. So I've been just kind of like not talking about it. Because I'm like, okay, how am I going to be, and how am I going to be moving forward? Because yes, the past is important to infer with myself, to look at it in hindsight, because that is a completely different person. Unless I'm attached to it, then yes, I do identify with that past version of me. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm fucking done. I learned my lesson. Like, I just need to chill out and just let shit happen naturally. And then it did. Literally, being flirtatious is so fun for me. It's so fun, but it's also like, I do need to be discerning as an adult. So I was like, and a sex worker. So it's like, how old are you? And like, I'm not going to get super physical. I also do practice abstinence. I plan on practicing it. It still works for me. And so that's why I'm just like, I'm readjusting, recalibrating myself, because I also do need to be creative with this shit. I need to fucking express it, or my head fucking hurts. It hurts, and I know I'm not saying anything because I am afraid. I'm afraid of revealing parts of myself. And it's like, God, I'm just fucking human. You know? And yes, I grieve. I had to grieve this person in my own ways. I didn't cry, which I'm not surprised by, but it's like, I just felt like, damn, that fucking sucks. That sucks that you don't want to continue this connection. But guess what? I respect that. So I finally replied to her text, and I was just like, I respect your decision. Stay safe. And I am always sending love to them, but not to the point where it's out of self-sacrifice. I only send them love when I feel love for myself. And it's like that whole thing where they say, like, you can't love someone truly unless you love yourself. And there are parts of myself I don't love. Like, I've learned that. I've definitely learned that. And I've been accepting that, yes, I do have a lot of masculine energy because I've implemented masculine energy for a lot. So therefore, I've conditioned myself for a period of time, especially in childhood when I'm most impressionable, to be masculine. And then I met this person who totally just like lit up this light in me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Because I experienced limerence during this last summer. And I was like, oh my god, I'm putting this person on a pedestal. Like, I actually need to stay the fuck away from them because then I feel like shit, but also very dysregulated because I was experiencing a lot of nervous system dysregulation from being physically attacked. And so I had to heal a lot. It was really not a good time, but it made me really fucking weird, honestly. Like, being so fucking for real. So when they like told me that they felt uncomfortable around me, I was like, no, yeah, that checks out. That fucking checks out, because I was very uncomfortable too, because of how stimulated I was being. But then because of how dysregulated I was, it was even times 10. And I was still grieving my friend Maddie in a very intense way. And so I recognized that this person, the way that I've been learning about my femininity vicariously through them, is that I also am a high value woman. And honestly, I don't really align with some of the things that is talked about in terms of that, because I also don't really believe that the man should chase either. I feel like that in itself is kind of like, okay, but we're asking, like, okay, it's like feminism. Like, I'm asking women, or it's being said to women, like, don't chase men, let them chase you. But it's like, if it was truly like equality, then why would we want someone else to experience what it feels like to chase someone? But then it's like, I'm not a man. So sometimes I like heard from this person that was talking about like something like a truth that men don't like to admit, is like they want to achieve a woman, you know, like they want to feel like they accomplished achieving a woman. And if you do align with that, cool, like that's fine. But like, honestly, I don't believe like a man should chase me and prove to me that they're worthy of me. Like, that just feels so weird. Like, I'm not better than anyone else. I'm not better than you. Like I just want to be I just want to meet each other in the middle. So I just found that really funny. And I've just become a lot more open through liking this person from afar now, because it's like, even though I send them love and like I wish them the best, I was like, you know, this is definitely not something that could turn into a relationship. Because it's not working for me. It's just not. So I'm just stepping away, and I know that I've made a lot of videos about this, and that's why sometimes, yeah, I do have to humble myself and be like, I'm fucking embarrassed. I felt so like, I felt like, you know, like when your cheeks get red, and like I was standing next to him, and I'm like, I wanted to stand closer to him, but like I kind of felt like his body movement or body language was moving away, and like my face kind of flushed because I was like, ugh, okay, cool, so I just shouldn't do that, in other words. So I changed my behavior, okay? I didn't fucking chase this motherfucker. I just was like, okay, space. And then at some point I felt like maybe he was open to me talking to him, but honestly, I like still have a hard time looking into his eyes because they're very deep and they make me feel alive. So I'm just like, ah. So I accept that I become very girly and feminine around him, and that's cool and all, but doesn't mean that I don't with myself. And so I was just like, honestly, yeah, she's a very precious part of me, and I do have to protect her. Like, I have masculine energy, as everyone has masculine and feminine energy. I was like, my masculine wants to protect my feminine. So I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna let this go. And obviously there's a process to it, right? I've just gotten to the point where I can say this a lot more openly, because I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, definitely let go of a lot of this. And so yeah, it's just really interesting because as a Scorpio sun, and Sagittarius, Pluto, and Chiron in the 4th house for Scorpio, and you know, everything's, wait, actually, it doesn't matter, honestly. But I've just been learning that my destiny really is to not stay in one place. And I've really been feeling this energy of moving. And I'm putting that out there for the universe, because who knows what opportunities will be presented to me. I don't want to be attached to a group, a collective. I don't want to be attached. I don't want to be put in a box. Sagittarian energy is so like no one can fucking hold me down. And I'm like, that's so on facts. That's like fucking on facts. Like, I really just don't feel like myself. I feel very shitty. And even when I'm at home, it's like I can be most of myself. Also because like my safe haven obviously is my room. And so it's just kind of like opening myself up even more to my family. Like having conversations, speaking up, repeating my boundaries. Like, because sometimes my boundaries change, right? Like sometimes I become a lot more open, and sometimes I become reactive, and it's like, okay, this is teaching me what boundary was crossed, and I need to speak up. I need to know my truth and speak up. So sometimes I'm like, I'm in a rush, I have work, I do not have the time for this, right? Being clear, concise, and simple. It's not, oh, you make me feel. Sometimes I speak in I statement. I speak in I statements because it's really important to acknowledge the part that I play, and also taking personal accountability and not projecting my reality onto another person, because it's not their fault. It's not their fucking fault. It's maybe like it's a very thin line, I feel like, because I got physically attacked, and I don't blame them anymore. I've forgiven them, I've let it go. It doesn't mean that I would accept that behavior moving forward. So it's like a very hard like thing to play, because who knows what's gonna happen? Who knows what's gonna fucking happen? Am I a lot more capable of protecting myself because I'm not 30 pounds under and like not eating properly? Yes. And I've worked out, I rock climb, like that's what I mean. Like I've shown up in a way where I'm like, I felt weak and very vulnerable and susceptible to a lot of physical pain. So I showed up for myself physically. That's why like mental and emotional can be kind of like a playground. It's the ocean, and it's also the air. It's air and water element. So it's like you can't really control that. But at the same time, it's important to stay neutral. It's important to observe. It's important to take action and change, because then your mind starts to be like, wait, what the fuck? You're doing this in a different way? Like, what's happening? I thought we were like this. And then my emotions are like, oh, are you invalidating my experience? Like, do you not feel the same way? Honestly, I'm still figuring it out. And I'm like, it's not that I'm trying to invalidate my emotions. It's I'm not going to be controlled by my emotions. I want to experience everything purely. But if I'm not feeling anything, then I'm not feeling anything. I'm not gonna force myself to feel love, fear, pain, anger. Like, I'm not gonna force myself. You know what I mean? Anyways, I'm gonna end it there. I have work later, and I need to like have some alone time before work. But thank you so much for listening. Seriously, like this is the journey, bro. Like until the day I fucking die, and who knows when I'm gonna die. So that's why I'm like, this is 1341 September 10th 2024 Tuesday, my guys. So thank you for providing me space, and I'm sending you so much love on your own spiritual journey.